No discouragement. Do not get discouraged. In our city, there was a competent and dedicated doctor named Dr. Wankler. When necessary, he always used the same encouraging phrase for the sick. No discouragement. Do not get discouraged. Once, Donna Judith, one of his patients, had been in bed for a long time, was apathetic, and with little hope for her recovery. Dr. Wankler, on his visits, addressed her, always using his usual refrain, "No discouragement. Don't get discouraged." Miss Donna Judith will overcome this difficult stage in her life. She has won so many others. Until happily, Donna Judith recovers and Dr. Wankler congratulates her by giving her discharge. Now, to everyone's delight, you can go home after so long here in the hospital. However, one day, Miss Judith learned from her friends that Dr. Wankler was sick, interrupting the assistance to his patients. He was over 70 years old, and this, together with his overwork and the lack of routine eating, caused him to become weak and thus contracted a severe cold that developed into pneumonia. Dr. Wankler had to be admitted to the same hospital where he worked, where he always fulfilled his tireless role as a competent and attentive doctor towards everyone. Donna Judith heads to the hospital to visit such a dear doctor. To her surprise, she saw several people in the corridor in front of his room, which had the door open. Former patients, nurses, employees, and professional colleagues. Everyone repeated his usual refrain, "No discouragement, do not get discouraged." Donna Judith could go into his room and noticed that the kind doctor was pale and thin, but his eyes had newness, life, and a desire to progress. After that day, Dr. Wankler recovered in the eyes of everyone. That tribute he had received from his friends developed an inner strength in him as a prayer. The medications given by Dr. Vincent, a pneumatologist, seemed to be energized, and the disease quickly resolved, and he was discharged from the hospital. Dr. Wankler learned that everyone, without exception, goes through problems, illnesses, and crises, and is weakened. But the optimistic phrases, repeated by a group of love, promote real miracles. Friends, no discouragement. Do not get discouraged.